One of the most respected names in college football has Byrum Brown as the top 10 quarterback in the country.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zach Blackerby, and thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. Today's show brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that energy into even larger potential wins with a college basketball parlay profit boost. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. We're dapping it up with the Darrell Dapprich, Montgomery radio legend, hanging out with us. Auburn needs to beat Alabama tomorrow. Can they do it, and what's at stake? That's coming up towards the end of today's show. But Darrell, I got to tell you, we've talked about Byrum Brown, Auburn's new quarterback, popping up on all these lists. Well, Bill Connolly of ESPN, I mean, one of the best minds in college football, he's ranking all of the Power 4 college football quarterbacks going into spring, and he has Byrum Brown in the top 10, right at 10. And I think, we've talked about where he is in relation to the SEC, which does matter a ton, but nationally, Byrum Brown is nationally relevant, and not enough people are talking about it.
I'm tell you what, it's almost like I got to keep pinching myself. Is this really happening? With some of the preseason predictions and exposure, Auburn's just not had this. We're used to seeing some of the names behind Byrum Brown. How glorious is that? So in perspective for this, yes, you make a great point. SEC, we focus on SEC. To have a dude in the top 10 in the country, and look, everybody can go out on a limb. Anybody can take a hot take and go, oh, I think Byrum Brown's a sleeper. He's a dark horse. This is like the 5th or 6th reputable reporter that has him pretty high up, whether in the SEC or now nationally, which tells me there's some credence to this, Zach. It's just not, a homer take or anything like that. It completely changes the complexion, I think, of somebody's football season if you've got a quarterback that's a top 10 quarterback in the nation.
Right. Once again, in the country, according to Bill Connolly. 4th in the SEC, according to this list. Trinidad Chambliss of Ole Miss is 3rd. Arch Manning from Texas is 4th. Gunnar Stockton of Georgia is 8th. And then Byrum Brown is sitting there at 10. Notably, ahead of Sam Leavitt, which I think is interesting. He's at 14. Of course, LSU's new quarterback. Notably, ahead of Marcel Reed at 18. John Mateer at 19. And those are some names that were nationally relevant a year ago. How about going into last season, all the love for Lenora Sellers? He's at 25, according to this list.
Yeah.
And I think that's worth noting. Yes, it's good that you're better than most of the quarterbacks going into spring than the Big Ten. But as far as the guys you're going up against every Saturday, I think that's extremely relevant.
If you would have told me last year that Auburn would have had a quarterback ranked ahead of Reed, who we both love, Mateer, who was the darling of everybody, and Lenora Sellers, who was a darling of everybody, not just people that make really cool looking glasses, I would have just taken that all day long.
I didn't get the glasses reference.
Oh, you haven't seen Lenore Sellers' specs that he wears?
No.
Sometimes under his helmet. Oh man, it's fashionable. It's top notch. If you'd have told me that any of those three, I'd have taken them for Auburn all day, right? Sure. I mean, been thrilled to. And now Auburn has a guy that's ranked over them. And it's, again, I want to reiterate, it's not just one or two people. It's not Auburn writers. It's not local writers. It's not AL.com. These are national 4, 5, 6 national writers that think that highly of him.
Well, it's impossible to ignore the production, right? It's impossible. And then when you think about, he already knows the system came with him. And to some extent, not to be dramatic, he is the system right now. And there's all this love for Drew Mestemaker at Oklahoma State. And you can't make any of the arguments for Mestemaker without making the same ones for Byrum Brown. You can't have one of them ranked highly and not the other. And so we saw Mestamaker be ranked extremely high for a while. Now it's like people are like, oh, if we want to be logically consistent here, we do have to go with Byrum Brown. I also think there's a lot of folks that are slowly realizing how incredible Byrum Brown was last year because he was at South Florida. And it's like, oh, wait, he threw for 3,000, ran for 1,000. What in the world? This is what he wrote about for Byrum and Bill Connolly, ESPN. In 3 years with new Auburn head coach Alex Golesh at USF, Brown twice topped 3,000 passing yards and 1,000 non-sack rushing yards. In fact, the only other quarterback in the 2020s to top 3,100 and 1,100 respectively was Jaden Daniels in his 2023 Heisman campaign. He both threw and rushed for more yards last year than John Mateer had before his move from Washington State to Oklahoma. I'm not going to tell you that means he's going to be part of a CFP push as Mateer was, but it's okay to set the bar pretty high here. He's really good, and he knows the offense. And I don't think we talk enough about what he did 3 seasons ago, where he had 3,000 passing yards, and then I didn't realize that was sack adjusted that he would have been over 1,000 rushing yards. That's incredible. So it wasn't just a 1-year thing for Byrum. This isn't anything about potential. This is all about, like, he's done it, and now we get to do it at the SEC level.
It's very rare that you get a known commodity at quarterback to come right in. Every Auburn quarterback that's been successful in the last 20 years, there's been a question mark before, like, can they? We didn't know what we had in Cam Newton.
Right.
Bo Nix was a freshman. Nick Marshall was a defensive back. Jared Stidham was the closest to a known commodity that Auburn had at quarterback, that we had tape, stats, and a history, and it worked out well. I'm going to tell you this.
And it felt like when Stidham came here, we were a quarterback away from something.
Exactly.
And that was true.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm going to say this, and I hope it comes to fruition, and we can come back and roll this. This is the first time in a very long, long time that I think Auburn has a quarterback that can win a game for you rather than just try not to lose one. When the defense gives up a long drive, or when the running game stalls, or when something happens, Auburn has a dude that you can blow the whistle, line it up, and say, go win me that game. And that hasn't happened in a very, very long time. We had it in Bo Nix.
That's the last one.
The LSU game is the one that I think of down there in Baton Rouge. Arkansas, Ole Miss. There was a couple of games that last year before he got hurt that he single-handedly, just took the team on his back with his legs or his arm and won games. And I don't think Auburn's had that, and they do. They do. How many times last year did we go, hey, at some point, quarterback's got to make a play to win you a game, not just hope he doesn't lose you one? Auburn has one. Auburn has one. He has a game. They have a game changer and hopefully a game finisher, and that's something that it's been a long time.
100%. So Byrum Brown, ranked as the 10th best quarterback in college football heading into spring, according to Bill Connolly of ESPN, and I'm there with him.
Can I ask you a quick question? What do you I was thinking about this, dreaming about it. What do you think his ceiling is as far as potential awards, accolades, individually? I'm not talking about the team, but could Byrum Brown get to New York?
Let's discuss Byrum Brown's potential, because it is very high, in just a moment, right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. It's all college basketball right now with our friends at FanDuel. They're giving you a way to turn that energy into even larger potential with a college basketball parlay profit boost. Darrell, there's a line right now for different teams to make the tournament. Auburn's line is plus 220. Obviously, that hinges a lot on what happens tomorrow. We'll discuss that later in the show today. But head to FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com. FanDuel, play your game. Today's show also brought to you by our friends at TurboTax. Darrell, we use TurboTax. You love TurboTax. It takes like 30 to 45 minutes once you sit down and do it, thanks to our friends at TurboTax.
Also, very convenient that they have everything you need for you to go back, and the state of Alabama is sending out letters for those to verify your taxes. TurboTax had everything I needed with a code. Bam, verified it for me.
Yep. Intuit TurboTax now has in-person locations nationwide. You can meet face-to-face with a real TurboTax expert, and your documents get uploaded straight to your TurboTax app on the spot. And just like that, you're done. Your TurboTax expert works to get you every dollar you deserve while you get real-time notifications in the app as you go about your day. So head to turbotax.com/local to find a store near you and book your appointment today. Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. Byrum Brown's ceiling, and let's all agree on what a ceiling is, and that is the absolute best case scenario if the stars align and everything comes together. His ceiling is Heisman Trophy conversation, 100%. I mean, we've seen nothing but production from him throughout his college career. And I also think part of being in the Heisman conversation is you have to have the pub and you have to be put on a stage where when you do play well, it's magnified. And he's going to have that with storylines. He's going to have that in Atlanta against Baylor. He's going to have that when Florida comes to Auburn and it's both of these head coaches' first SEC action. If he performs well in both of those games, the conversation will start to happen. Then the storyline of Golesh returning to Tennessee to take on his former boss. Imagine if Byrum Brown sets the stage on fire when they go to Knoxville. And then after that, you just got to take care of business. You know, can you do something in Athens? Can you upset LSU? We're calling it an upset right now. We'll see how the season goes. And then obviously your season will end. The regular season will end in Tuscaloosa. There's not a better opportunity and a better stage in college football to say, hey, I am among the best players in this sport. 100%. The path is there. Now, everything has to come to a line, but the ceiling, Darrell, the ceiling is absolutely he's in New York for the Heisman Trophy ceremony.
There you go. I'm not going to predict that he's going to, win the Heisman or be in the Heisman conversation. I just think that his ceiling and his potential is that of he could be invited and be mentioned and be one of those top, 4 guys. If that happens, you're right. Not only does there have to be a stage, but Auburn cannot be a 5-7 football team for that to happen either.
Correct.
So that's something else to think about. Are they at that point in contention? Are they a 7, 8, 9 win team? So, and they look and go, they wouldn't be if not for Byron Brown. He's won some big games. To win 8 games with this schedule, you're going to have to win a couple of big games. And I think that absolutely he has the potential and the tool belt to be in New York in December.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's possible. The ceiling is there. Outside of injury, Darrell, what do you think the biggest hurdle or obstacle is? And I think it's his O-line. Does the O-line not mesh or develop? Because I really don't think it's going to be him adjusting to the SEC speed. I really don't think it would be him. I think it would be other factors around him.
Wow, that's good. Can we have a differing opinion on that? I don't think it's internal. I think it's external. I think the grind of playing SEC defenses week in, week out, I want to see how he adjusts to that or how it takes its toll. I think he's talented enough. I don't think there's anything – I think Auburn has put around him what he needs to be successful. Is that going to translate in the best conference in America week in, week out? That's the only thing I could see as being – but I do believe this. I do believe that his attributes, his makeup, some of the things I've seen, heard, people that have talked to him, even if he has that one-off, even if he has that game where he just doesn't play well, let's say, and Auburn loses, I don't think he's the type of kid that it'll translate and it'll linger. I think he'll be a bounce-back type guy. Next week, get ready, he's going to light it up. So that's nice. That's nice to have that where it doesn't continue week in, week out. I'm excited. I mean, listen, the more and closer we get to the season and the more preseason stuff that we see, you have to think too, and I know it's way early to talk about this, you have to think he's one of the people that Golesh is bringing to SEC Media Days.
Yeah.
No brainer.
I mean, it would almost be a major distraction if he wasn't.
Yep. So I think there'll be him, and then there'll be, a legacy guy, a guy that was there last year. It'll be interesting. There's a lot of candidates, but I the closer we get, the more excited I get. And honestly,
it'll be him. Way too early guess. Him. Yeah. X has to be one.
Absolutely.
My brain's going to Jeremiah Cobb for the third one.
Me too.
Okay, great.
I also, another thing I'm excited about that people forget that are anxious and don't want to wait, I think you get to get a little sneak peek of him at A-Day. And how nice is that going to be?
Define sneak peek.
He'll play some snaps, run some things.
Yes.
Yeah.
He'll take some snaps.
Yeah,
He may throw the football a few times. Yes,
right.
Sure.
That's it.
100% agree.
That's why it's like a trailer, right?
Yeah,
I guess it's
like a trailer. Truly a sneak peek.
A movie trailer.
Yeah. No, which will be great. And in a month, gosh, we'll want it.
And I'm that dork that has to arrive to the theater 45 minutes before it starts because I love previews and trailers, and I have since I was a little kid.
Me too. I don't want to miss the trailers if I'm going to a movie. There used
to be a TV show. I'm really dating myself. There used to be a TV show on cable for a half hour that was nothing but movie trailers that were coming out. And it was glorious.
All right.
It just was. It was like let's say the movies were coming out 4 months in. It was just a guy hosting it, and it was nothing but movie trailers for a half hour.
Got it. All right.
I loved it. I've loved previews since I was a little kid. It drives the rest of my family crazy that I got to be there that early, but it gets me.
I'm with you. I want to see them all too. I mean, especially now, like I'm taking my kids to a movie. It costs so much. I'm like, we're going to be here as long as possible. We're getting every cent of value out of this trip. But yeah, so one other thing I want to talk about with Byron, and you and I have touched on this before to some extent, but if Byrum Brown comes in, and yes, I know you like Tristan Tia, and I like him too, and I like a lot of the quarterbacks that Auburn seems to be in it for the 2027 class. I still think they've got to go to the portal after this year, unless we hear reports about Tia. It's just a numbers thing. Like you need more, and the added pressure of Byrum Brown succeeding. Yes, for this year, you need to be good if you're going to overachieve this season. But as far as being appealing for the next quarterback that they have to go out and get into the portal, which might be, as soon as the season is over, how much juice does that add to your pitch if Byrum Brown does these things like he did at South Florida, but in the SEC?
Very underrated point. People don't think about that, but it's a ton. Byrum Brown comes in, and if he leads Auburn to a nice season and is in the conversation to be in New York and puts up nice stats,
yes,
you're going to be able to go out and get you a heck of another portal quarterback because you'll have seen. I get it. People think it's all about dollars and NIL because Hugh Freeze hadn't really shown that he did it with Peyton Thorne, and then he went ahead and got Jackson Arnold. Anyway, money does talk. I get it, but you still want to be developed, and you still want to see what somebody in front of you did and how they worked in that offense and how productive they were. If he goes off, it's going to make it very easy for Auburn to go get another quarterback to either win the job or compete and push and make Tia better or whatever. I think it'll be a slam dunk.
Yep. So hopefully Byron puts it all together. But yeah, to answer your question, the ceiling, sky high. Auburn basketball needs to hit their ceiling tomorrow. They need to beat Bama. Can they do it? That's next, right here on Locked on Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at 5 Hour Energy. Welcome to the 5 Hour Energy flavor draft with 18 different flavors to choose from, including new options like confetti craze, fruity rainbow, or cotton candy. There's something for everyone. The board is set. The flavors are ready. And I've got my number one pick for the 5 Hour Energy flavor draft. I'm always going grape. Darrell, I was listening to an NFL show, and the host had tried the confetti craze. And he talked about how it tastes just like a birthday cake.
That's what I was wondering. When I heard that, that's what I envisioned, like a cupcake, like a confetti cupcake.
Yeah. And I'm trying to like picture that sensation hitting my taste buds.
I'll stick with my good old wild with cherry. Yeah.
Yeah. That's fine for sure. Got our cherry slushy that my oldest made me. So find your new favorite flavor of 5 Hour Energy shots available online at 5hourenergy.com or online at Amazon. Today's show also brought to you by our friends at Indeed. Indeed's the best place to hire any candidate you're looking for. Darrell, you've been talking about using Indeed to hire for your company for months now. You actually sent me a picture yesterday of Indeed doing all of the, I guess it's your dashboard.
It's my dashboard.
All of your jobs that are available. And the amount of information you have from that dashboard was It was pretty impressive.
I said, look, I keep receipts. I don't just say stuff without I use them. And here are all the jobs in the last year. And it was a ton. It's a dashboard. It's lit up. I got 3 currently right now. 3 out there that I'm trying to hire for that are concurrently running.
So apply for some jobs on Indeed. You might get to work for Darrell Dapprich.
Yeah.
I think that's something right there. Listeners of the show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help your job get the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. That is Indeed.com/podcast. Need to hire? That's a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. Final few minutes of today's edition of Locked on Auburn. Auburn basketball seemingly, it feels like, not to be too emotional, but it feels like Auburn is fighting for its tournament life. Are there scenarios where they lose tomorrow and make it into the tournament? Yeah, but it'd be tough. Like, you're really going to have to go on a generational run, which is possible, and it's March and crazier things have happened. Sure. But man, it's just so much easier if you just get it done tomorrow. Find a way to go into Tuscaloosa, make a statement to the committee, to your fan base, to your rival, to yourselves, and say, hey, yeah, this was a rough stretch, and a lot of it was self-inflicted. But we are strong enough mentally, emotionally, and physically to put that behind us and say, look, we took all these other opponents that we should have beaten. We took them too lightly. We showed up to, practice 20 minutes late. We didn't adhere to team standards, whatever that might be. This is important. And let's act and treat it as such. It's important for the individual players. It's important for the coach you're playing for. It's important for all these fans that continue to support you during this brutal stretch. There's a way to fix all of this, Darrell. Beat Alabama and Tuscaloosa, and everything takes care of itself.
Yeah, and I haven't had a chance to check all these rankings. I do believe that if you beat Alabama, that gives you 6 quad 1 wins. I think North Carolina State, even though it was a home game, is still counting as a quad 1 for Auburn. I don't know for sure. I didn't check that, but I know the other 5, if you were to beat Alabama, you'd have at least 5, and you'd have what you consider 6 quality wins. Regardless, that North Carolina State win is a quality win. And sure. I think that's enough from a net standpoint to get you in the top 35 net. And no SEC team has ever been in the top 35 net and got left out of the tournament. So take care of business Saturday.
NC State is 33 in net, so that would be.
Yes, that's a quad 1. I mean, that would be 6 quad. That's why there's still talk of Auburn with a losing SEC record and the bad losses to Oklahoma and Ole Miss still being on the bubbles because of the 5 wins, the 5 quad 1 wins. So, yeah, get that last one on the road. Due to Alabama, what Alabama did to you last year. I think that's the difference, is that everything's pretty much set up. I think regardless of what Alabama does Saturday, they're set as a 4 seed. Auburn has a lot more to play for and a lot more uncertainty. Auburn should be the more desperate team.
Yeah, they are desperate. I mean, Alabama's situation is locked. I believe they're locked in the SEC tournament as well. It's just, does this team want it? I mean, they were fighting for their tournament life going into Ole Miss, and, Keyshawn Murphy apparently, being 20 minutes late to a film session. It's like, do you care? Do you want it? Or is everything everybody's saying about athletes now with NIL, it's all about the money and it's not about the school and the loyalty anymore? Like, prove those people wrong. Prove those people wrong and go out there and have some pride in what you're doing and go out and find a way to win. Auburn's capable of winning. They're going to have to do some stuff differently. They're going to have to defend way better. They're probably going to need some luck, just to be honest with you, especially with how their 3-point defense has been and how good Alabama has been from shooting it from beyond the arc. I mean, offensively, I think what you did against LSU is sustainable. I think you could do that on the road against Alabama. But to me, it's the big thing about defense. And what is defense? It's effort. And we'll see if that effort's there. I think we'll know pretty early which team we get.
You're going to have to make Alabama get a little bit out of their comfort zone and try to beat you inside without Bediako this time, because that if they get hot and hit 15 to 23s, it's over. And that's been Auburn's Achilles heel, except against LSU, because I think LSU didn't shoot enough, ironically and strangely enough. Right. And I do believe LSU thought they had a decided advantage inside, and they did. They shot 56% from the field, and a lot of those were bunnies. I don't know if Alabama will take that approach. So if you're Auburn, I think you have to do what Stephen Pearl talked about in the post-game show with Andy Burcham and spread your defense out and really try to take away the perimeter, spread wide. That makes you susceptible to that over the top. We saw LSU do it all night, that over the top. So what? You got to take something away. You got to pick your poison. Alabama is most comfortable when they're hitting threes. Take that away. You've got to match their scoring potential and efficiency like you did against LSU, and we'll see. And then if that happens, you got a chance.
Yep, you need Had to have one of those signature games.
I think he will. I think what happened. Yeah, I think he's going to go for at least 23, 24. I think what happened the other night against LSU is going to be a definite Kickstarter for him. And at Alabama in the biggest game of the year, that's when he shows up. I think he's going off.
Yeah, I hope he goes off. I hope we see. I mean, there's two versions of Kevin Overton offensively, right? I hope we see the good one.
I got a sneaky suspicion that Freeman's going to have a really good game.
Last time you said that, I think you nailed it. I forgot what game that would have been, but I remember us talking about it at the half that you called it. So hopefully that happens again. That'd be great. So we'll see. And obviously, they're not out of it if they lose tomorrow, but it gets pretty freaking tough.
Yeah, you're gonna have to win the SEC tournament if you lose tomorrow.
Is it that extreme?
I do. Because again,
it's that extreme if they lose.
I don't
tomorrow?
think just getting to the title game, maybe because Auburn's net will still be really, really good. I just keep going back to that year with Buzz Williams and Texas A&M where they made that run through the SEC tournament, got to the championship game, got left out. But I don't think they had 5 quad one wins coming into the tournament, and that may be the difference.
Yeah, so worth noting for sure. So just win. Baby.
Just win
it. Yeah, just win. Just find a way to win. Darrell, how can people check out everything you've got going on?
Tomorrow night, not at 11 o'clock at night, but about 9:30, we'll be going live after the Alabama-Auburn game. And then Wednesdays and Fridays with you here on Locked on Auburn, and then Sunday night, 8 o'clock live on the Barncast.
Yeah, and then for Auburn baseball coverage this weekend, Lindsay and I should be going live tonight after game 1 against Winthrop. And then we'll go live Sunday afternoon after that's done as well. So baseball tonight, basketball tomorrow, then baseball series finale on Sunday as far as our programming happening.
Should be nice weather. Public service announcement. Get out. Auburn plays Kentucky in a big softball series. Auburn plays Winthrop in a baseball series. Get out and get a little sunshine, get a little round ball.
Yep. Support these programs. They're both off to a pretty good start. So please like the video. Please subscribe. We'll see you next time. This has been Locked on Auburn.